worse than having my New York accent back, I'm done. All right. But I appreciate everyone being here. We kind of have to roll with the punches tonight because not only are we having issues with this, one of the co-chairs, and it wasn't me, forgot to bring the box that has all the information. So we're going to just kind of, like I said, we're going to.
Who could that be?
I don't know. But I'm going to, I'm taking him down.
Just know, shift happens.
Shift happens. That's right. But that's okay because we're us. So what we're going to do is, for those qualified speakers who are here, you got a little piece of paper. And we just like you to put a rating for our auditioning speakers from 1 to 10. It could be 7.9, it could be 8.3, and Mrs. Chun is showing you the little strips of paper. And Leslie, are you going to be timing for us?
I had planned on it, but I can't.
Oh, okay. Could you? And as opposed to the no, she's not. No, she's not an audition. But good try. She's trying to sneak in under the radar. Because she's very little. You didn't think anybody would know. Anyway, so as opposed to the green, yellow, and red, we'll just do 1, 2, and at 3 you'll be at 22 minutes, and then you'll have 30 seconds to wrap up. Does that make sense?
I wasn't in.
Oh, are you going to time? Mrs. Chun, are you going to time?
I've got timing cards.
Okay. Oh, you can actually say that.
For the qualified speakers that will be voting, the slip of paper that you have, please print your name and sign.
I can't count it if it's not printed and signed, because then I know who's voting. Make sense? All right. On to our MC. Our MC is our newest member, and we are very, very happy to have a new member here because it hasn't been easy. So you should be very proud. I would like to introduce, I don't even have an introduction. I would introduce a wickedly smart woman, technology-wise, etc., Miss Mary Beth.
Good evening, everyone. Toastmasters, qualified speakers, and our honored guests. This evening, I'm so glad to stand before you. I've been away for just a moment. When I qualified back in April, 4 days later, I lost a loved one, and I had to step back for a moment, do a few things, and I'm back, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to see all of your faces tonight. This evening, we have a wonderful woman that's going to be speaking to us this evening. She is our educational speaker, so I'll read her introduction. Raven Blair Davis, aka the talk show maven, is known by many as the queen of internet radio conversation. Her radio and media journey began at the age of 55 during a difficult time in her life at her mother's bedside in the ICU of Methodist Hospital. Since then, she's gone on to be former CNN and CBS radio personality, columnist, speaker, author, executive producer of 2 award-winning radio shows, and a Hollywood correspondent interviewing celebrities on the red carpet. Raven is considered to be one of the best when it comes to interviewing current thought leaders, celebrities, powerful thought leaders, and ordinary people with extraordinary stories. Some of the people she's interviewed include, and it's a long list, Dr. J.D. Hill, the legendary Napoleon Hill's grandson, international speaker Les Brown, the motivator, Victoria Browell, acclaimed actress of Young and the Restless, Alex Mendozian, internet marketing guru, Dr. Joe Vital, the grandson of marketing guru Jack Canfield, Lisa Nichols from the movie The Secret, Montel Williams, Lindsay Wagner, Fran Dresser, and that's just to name a few. In 2011, Raven took her passion for the radio band and started her Amazing Women of Power programming radio network, reaching up to 3.5 million listeners in over 128 countries. You can learn more at http://amazingwomenofpower.com. Today, Raven will be sharing tips that led to her success as an entrepreneur in the new media industry. She will also share why she feels strongly anyone can create or elevate any business by using the power of your voice, the skill of a talk show host, and the platform of radio, right from the comfort of their home office or their kitchen table. Please, I would like you to stand to your feet, put your hands together, and welcome Raven, the talk show maven.
Did you know that?
Yes.
How many of you are speakers? How many of you are aspiring speakers? You're just getting to learn. Well, give yourselves a hand. Because a great man by the name of Jerry Rice once said that, I will do today what others won't, so that I can live my life tomorrow like others can. How many feel that? And to do things that others won't, that means you got to step out the box and think like others in your niche and in your field are not thinking. Am I right? Yeah. How many of you, as Les Brown say, are hungry for success? Are you hungry?
I'm hungry.
That's it? Well, I got to tell you guys, I might be a little bit too much for you because I'm hungry for success. And I'm hungry for life and purpose and passion and all that goes with it. Now, I got some free gifts I'm going to give away. And I'm going to pass these 2 sheets around. And what we want to do is just get your name and information, and there's some prizes on there that you get. And then after the spill, I got a couple gifts I want to give away. The gifts are on there. You can circle the one you want, and I'll explain them later. So since I don't have my PowerPoint, I'm going to have to cheat a little bit, so bear with me. But today our topic is red carpet interview secrets. And basically what you're going to do is learn both sides, being the interviewer, which I am, and also being the interviewee. Show of hands, how many people have been on a radio show? Great. Almost half the room. How many people want to get on a radio show and they just don't know how? Okay, so we got about 5 or 6. Now those of you that have been on a radio show of hands, How many of you left that show and said, I nailed it, and your bank account said, ching, 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 ching? Oh, then I'm at the right place, and you are too. Because you know, one of the reasons people don't hear ching, 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 ching after they've been interviewed is really simple. You know what it is? They didn't know the insider secrets to how to make that happen. They thought they were just going to do an interview and hopefully sell a book or two. See, it's much more than that. I'm known for giving red carpet interviews to my guests. And as she said in my bio, I've interviewed the best of the best. So many people, we don't even want to go down the roster. But my journey wasn't always like that. My journey began in the ICU unit of the hospital at the age of 55. And at that time, I'm sad to say, I was only making $10 an hour working 20 hours a week. But have you ever been in a situation to where life is going okay? You know, it's not great, but you're not complaining, you're kind of settling. Any of you ever been in that settling mode? Okay, so what happened was, all of a sudden, we hear from my mother that she's ill, she's got to go in the hospital. And what we thought was going to be a few days ended up being 3 weeks in the ICU unit. Any of you have ever been in the hospital by a loved one? They look a little different, don't they? It breaks your heart, doesn't it? And you start to think, or at least I did at that time, wow, I wonder if Mom lived her life the way she wanted, or did she live it for us? And then you get to thinking, wow, did she live her dreams? Is she going to make it? And as I sat in the chapel wondering those things, I began to say, hey, Raven, if you were laying in there, did you say you lived your dreams? Did you say that you lived your life purpose? And at the age of 55, making $10 an hour, that would be your what? No. It didn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, correct? So, that was a difficult time. It brings tears to my eyes. My mother did pass away. But for 6 years, she was a little different, but she came through it. But see, I was taking a course called Tell Us in Our Secrets, and even though I was at the hospital with Mother, because I was there for 3 weeks, in the ICU unit, lived, showered, stayed there. And when Mother was up, I watched what the doctors was doing very carefully. I was like, what you doing? What's that for? Time out. Don't ever take anyone to a hospital and just think it's routine, okay? Very important. That's a strong message of mine now. Watch what they do, because when you're there and you show you care, they what? They work hard and they care. When you're not there and you're not coming, guess what? They may not be taken care of. And that's where the accidents and mistakes happen. So that's all I'm going to say on that, but I can't speak without sharing that, because it means a lot to me. And so at that time, I knew that for things to change, I must what? I must change. If I kept doing what I was doing, I was going to what? Get the same results. And so I had to make a decision, write the word down, decision, and I had to make some choices. And I had to do what the legendary Michael Jackson says, take a good look at the mirror, at the woman in the mirror. And you know what, guys, I realized it was time for me at the age of 55 to finally be there for my mom. Because you know what? There have been many times that I had to go back home. Any of you ever been in that situation? It's kind of nice to be able to go back home, but at that age, it's not nothing to be proud of. So now Mother needed me, so I had to step up, stand up, show up, and this is what the one that gets us. Grow up. And be responsible for my own life. Everyone say, I'm responsible. I'm responsible for my life.
For my life.
For my speaking career.
For my speaking career.
If it's meant to be, it's what?
It's meant to be.
If it's meant to be, it's up to
To me.
me. We learned that in what? grade school, right? And it's so true. And so I was taking a course by a great man named Alex Mendosian, and I heard him say that the quickest way to become an expert is to interview other experts. And in return, guess what? You become the expert. Because they are trained to make you look good. And so all of a sudden, everybody wants to hook their wagon to your success. Because they think that you personally hang out with Les Brown or Lisa Nichols. And you don't. Well, sometimes you do, but most of the time you don't. But you're perceived like you do. You perceive like you're all that back chips and that's fine. For real. And so I made some decisions and I said, you know what? I'm going to turn my life around. Because when Mother comes out this, and I really felt like she was, I'm going to be in a position where I can take her to the doctor, I can help her with her bills. But you see, I had to do something fast. And this is going back to where I started when I said sometimes we got to step out the box and do something different if we want to shine in our industry. Because there's lots of people out there that do everything that you, and me do. So our job is to always be thinking forward and not backward. Implement the things you learn. We all listen to audios and read books, but guess what, guys? We drop the ball when it comes to implementing, don't we? And I'll be the first to say sometimes I do. And so I made the decision right there in the hospital that I was going to change my life and be there for my mother. And all of a sudden, I started figuring out, I didn't write down how am I going to do it, I write down what am I going to do and where am I going to begin. Write this down. What am I going to do? Where am I going to begin? Never try to figure out the how. Anyone know why? Sometimes it does come to you if you let it flow. Correct. But many times it will get you in your head and out of your heart. In business, you want to always work from your heart. When you're speaking, you want to always speak from your heart.
What am I gonna do?
And where do I begin?
Thank you. I write to
What do I want to do? What am I going to do? And where do I begin? Is my sheet still going around? Because you guys got to get there for this. Okay. So, and the last person in the back, hold on to it for me. I've got something special for you too, okay? Once everybody fills it out. And so what came to me, as I, visited the chapel many times, like I said, I lived there, it was like, you know what? You're going to do something for baby boomers, because at that time I was a baby boomer. I think I'm sliding out of that now. I'm seasoned. Hi. So, I got on Alex's call another Monday, because he had him every Monday night, and he said, he interviewed a guy by the name of Rick Frischman, and Rick Frischman said, instead of doing a teleseminar, he interviewed authors and speakers on a podcast. And I'm like, what's the podcast? So since I lived at the hospital and nurses got to know me, I told them I'm going to start my own radio show. And I was so excited, they got excited, and you know what? They let me borrow their computers at night, and I Googled how to start a podcast, how to do a radio show, how to do an interview. That was February 6, 2006. I'm so proud to say. April 23rd, 2006, I launched my very first show from the kitchen table. And I taught myself. And it has changed my life completely. Because I learned how to own my voice. I come from a little bit of emotional abuse. Anybody's ever had any kind of abuse, emotional, any kind of trauma? Whew, painful, isn't it? So interviewing taught me how to speak out my pain so I can get to my power, so I can live my life on purpose with a definite purpose. And that's what I did. Women Power Talk Radio Show, the show that was designed for the baby boomer in mind and the men who love them. was born. Created at the hospital, launched from my kitchen table. A year and a half later, I got an email in my box saying, congratulations for your award. I got my first award for that show, with a handful of listeners. Then it went on to Careers from the Kitchen Table, my second show. Now I have 5 shows, and now I have a radio station. I've been on CNN and CBS. I got another message, I believe, from my God saying, it's time for you to leave CNN and CBS and start your own positive programming network. So now I have 40 hosts, never did a show. I train them, and we pass it on. Isn't that what we do? We pass our gifts on. So why am I here speaking to you today, other than Jeff asking me? Thank you, Jeff. was really because I want to pass on to you. Many of you are not going to be interested in interviewing, but I hope to change your mind on that. Because remember what Alex said? Who can tell me what Alex said?
Interview experts and be expert yourself.
There you go. If you interview experts, you become an expert. I get most of my booking engagements from people finding me and listening to me on my radio show. How many of you would love that? They come to me because they perceive me as an expert and they heard me interviewing, and so they know my niche. I have many coaches and speakers and authors that have their own show. So there's 2 things I want to talk to you about today. Rona?
Yes.
Give me like the 10-minute signal.
You got it.
Okay? All right, so and one thing about us talk show hosts, we talk a lot, so I always tell people, give me a 10-minute signal. Do you like this? Okay, and then I know.
Well, I can see this.
Okay, good. Now that I can see. Thank you. Without my glasses. Cool. So I wanna basically train you guys on 2 aspects of this. I'm going to talk to you about first being the interviewee, because I feel like most of you want to be on a radio show. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why I feel, other than what Alex says, it's important for you to also master the art of being an interviewer. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're ready to get started, say, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right, so here we go. Let's start with you being the interviewee. Here's one thing, and I get emails all the time about people wanting to be on my show. I want to say this up front. It took me a couple years to understand the value of what I had to offer, and I used to do interviews free. I don't do interviews free. You'll find very few radio shows and stations like mine, but I train my hosts that this is part of their business, and they're not to give their business away. Because I guarantee you the coaches, the authors, and the speakers are not giving their service away. So we're a little bit different. I'm changing the name of the game on that. Because I was almost out on the street. Now, how can I help my mother if I'm not, you see? I had no profitable plan. Can you get that? I'm going to help my mom. But I didn't have a clue of money was never in the game. And many of you, I believe and I really feel, want to be a speaker and go out and speak, but you haven't quite figured out how you're going to make the money and on the radio show. So being interviewed, the first thing that you want to do is you have to approach radio hosts like myself, and it doesn't matter if it's internet radio or if it's terrestrial radio, if it's a telesummit, all of them are good. So write them down. Online radio stations, there's so many. You can get on either one. You're looking for radio, terrestrial radio, internet radio, podcasts, and telesummits. Do not rule out telesummits. I just did one of the first world global radio summits where I interviewed 54 master teachers in 4 weeks. It was called the Don't Wait to Be Great, Do It Now. We had Sinbad on there. And we had Glenn Morshower, we had, what's her name? Ernie Hudson, and we have Alex Mendoza, and just all kind of people were on there. Because they love the topic, don't wait to be great, do it now. Write that down. Don't wait to be great, do it now. And you can do it with your interviews. When you're being interviewed, well, first of all, let's start searching for the host. make sure you go after those radio shows that you are a fit for. Because what's very important, what most people miss, is it needs to be a win-win-win. A win for you, meaning being the right audience. A win for the host, meaning you're the right guest for their audience. And a win for the audience, meaning they want to sit there and listen to what you have to say. Do you guys agree? Yes. So if it's not a win-win-win, so when you're looking, ask yourself, is this a win-win-win? Because I guarantee you the hosts, those really skilled hosts like myself, are looking at that. We're not just bringing on anybody for, just to fill slots. That's not happening, okay? The second thing you want to look at is their website. And you want to listen to a couple of their shows. Because what's very important to us as a host is that you're familiar with my radio station, with my radio show. I get so many emails, and they don't have a clue. They are not a fit for my show. They don't even have a clue as to what my show is. I'll have people call that are emailing me about coming on to promote their book and their business on my Baby Boomer Women show that's all about empowerment. That's all about your dreams happening. And I have people contacting me on my Careers from the Kitchen Table show, and when you think the Careers from the Kitchen Table show would be a clue, that name, right? They want to come on and talk about abuse and all that stuff. They're more of a match for women power, but I don't tell them. You know why? Who can tell me why I don't tell them? They didn't do their research. Oh my God. So put down research. I must do my research, right? Now, who would like to know what to look for when you're doing their research? You would? Okay, would that help you?
Yes.
Good. First thing you want to do is read the bio. Because you want to know that you're getting a skilled host. Because our job as a host is to make you feel like you're on what? The red carpet. I like you. Absolutely. You don't want nobody botching up your name, right? Can't say your book, talking over you, not giving you a chance. That's why it's got to be a win-win-win, guys. So when you research, go to the website, look at their bio, look at their event page, very important. So many people miss that. You want to look at the event page because you want to find out if they got anything going on. You want to find out their product page. You want to find out what books they have. Look at their media page. And check and see if they're holding any of those interviews, if they're putting them on the website, because that means possibly you could be on there. Okay? That's very important. As a host, that pisses us off when you do not do your research. And you definitely should listen to their show. You want to know why? Because that will give you a clue how they talk. Are they slow? Do they talk real fast? Do they have a personality? Or are they so you have this book, tell us about it. Okay? That will help prep you for the show. I'm not saying turn it down, especially if it's a very well-known person. But would you want to match them? You don't want to come up there, oh, I'm so excited to be on your show. And they're like, okay, so we have Raven here. Oh, I'm here, everybody. No, it's not a match. It's not a match. Because remember, if they've been on the air for a while, they have an audience, and guess what? They're attracting people that like the slow, dragging, boring to me person. Keeping it real up in here. Okay? We attract like-minded folks, don't we? Yes. Absolutely. When you get your speaking engagement, do you ever feel like, wow, this is my audience, this is perfect for me? Because you're putting out that energy, and when you put out that energy, you're going to attract the people that you need to attract, correct? Is that me? Okay. So, once you go to all the pages and you check them out, you've done your homework, and you made a decision if it's a win-win-win, and now you're going to get ready to connect with the person. And that means pick up the receiver. Don't just send an email. Now, other people will tell you to send an email, but I'm telling you, from my years of experience, remember, I'm a seasoned woman, so I got some years of experience, okay? You want to connect with them via the phone. Are you going to connect with them in the email, or are you going to connect with them in the phone? With the telephone? On the phone. Now, that's when you want to be cheerful. Because you're not going to talk to the radio host 9 chances out of 10, not unless they're like me and I'm a phone person, because I'm all about the power of the voice. You're going to be speaking with the receptionist or someone else, and you want to charm the pants off of them. What do you want to do? Charm the pants off. Now, let's say it with some pizzazz. Charm the pants off. There you go. Okay? So you want to be pleasant, you want to be excited, and you want to say, you know what? I'm checking out you guys' website. Oh my God. Good job on doing this. You guys are so, I have this product, I have this book, I speak on this, and it's a perfect fit for you. And you can honestly say that and authentically say that because you've done what? Your research. And so if they say, well, let you speak to Raven, or let you speak to, whoever, the host, you've been to his bio, you've been to his event page, so that gives you a heads up, right? And it's never about us, it's about who? Them. So you can start it off with a pleasant conversation so that they can sit back and say, oh, okay, yeah, well, send me your email directly to, send me your request directly to my email. Does that make sense? Is this good or good? Can y'all work with this?
Yes.
It's a big difference, right? Now you are a little bit ahead of the other person that's going to be there. That's just going to send a blind email. And speaking of emails, the emails I get are like this. I can't even get to the meat of what it's about. Then I find all the way halfway through, they're not even a match. Don't send anybody no longer. That's too long. Too long. Make it short, make it sweet, make it to the point, and make it about them, and better yet, their audience, because that's what it's about. Okay? So let me hear everybody say, it's not about me, it's not about me, it's about their audience.
It's about their audience.
That's right. And the transformation that they want to receive. Because that's what brings their listeners there. They may love me, they may love Dave Ramsey, they may love Montoya, Oprah, but they're really coming for that transformation, right? They want to know what's going to change their life, what's going to elevate their life, how are they going to get through that pain. And so it's so important that you connect with them once you land that interview. Because I've given you the stuff to get you there. I can't give you everything, I don't have that much time today. So I'm going to give you what I can. And then for those of you, some of you can go ahead and take it away. Others, I'll give you an opportunity to take part of something that I'm excited about that I put together especially for you guys, where I will actually hold you by the hand and show you how to do it. You'll be able to come into my studio. Okay, see how I work. Yeah. Okay, so now you got the interview. And you charm the pants off the receptionist. Good job, y'all. Good job. You sent the email. You called them on the phone. They got the private email they sent you, and you booked the time. So now, that sounds spooky. So now, you are sitting either at your kitchen table or your home office doing the interview over the receiver, or you are actually in your studio. Either way, I don't care if it's a podcast, if it's an internet radio show, if it's a small little terrestrial show, or a telesummit. I want you to sit in that chair like this. We're going down. I want you to arch that back, stick that chest out, and I want you to feel the power in you. Everybody say, feel the power. Feel the power in you. And that's got to come from your gut and up. And I want you to close your eyes for a second before they start the show, and I want you to pretend like you are sitting in CBS, CNN, MSNBC, your favorite station chair. Got it?
I got it.
And that is no joke. Honestly. This is what I train my folks. I tell them when you're interviewing, you act like you're in that big chair even though you're at your kitchen table. And I'm telling you as interviewees to do the same. It will shift that negativeness, that low self-esteem, all that stuff that's not right. It's going to shift it and you're going to bring your power. And that's how you unleash the power in your voice. But you have to believe that you're worthy of it. You have to act like you're on Oprah. Really. What's the best way to be ready for Oprah? Is to get ready now. And I'm telling you, if you act like that, you will find that you're speaking in a different way. Remember when we were little, our moms used to say, stand up, sit up, don't slouch your shoulders. Stick your chest out. It does make a difference in your posture. And believe it or not, there's posture when you're on the phone. Most of your interviews nowadays, let me see the show of hands of people that have been interviewed again. How many was over the phone? Keep your hands up. You're finding out more and more over the receiver, right? You're doing it over the phone. It's more convenient too. You don't have to fight that hectic highway. I bet you're excited when they tell you can do it over the phone, right?
Oh, yes.
Versus getting in LA traffic. Yeah. So it's important that it comes out nice and strong over the phone. And remember, it's not just important for the listeners to hear you, they must feel you. Okay? So when you're doing your interview, it's your job to draw the listener in. Okay? Draw them in. And one of the ways that I draw my listeners in, whether I'm on the stage, being interviewed or interviewing, is I do a lot of hand gestures. And when I'm saying something that I want to bring them close, I actually am doing my hands like this. Okay? I'm bringing them in. Or I'll move from back in my chair to the edge of my chair. And I'll get close and I'll whisper on some things. Why do I whisper? To draw them in, to get their attention. And then I'll take it back and I'll get louder. Okay, so it's a way that you do that. And it works. This is the difference of turning listeners into fans and fans into buyers. Ching, 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 ching. Yeah. Okay? So, let me see, where am I at on my time? Okay. So,
I'm sorry, we are gonna have to cut it a little bit short because we started so late, so.
give me, what do I?
Take another 15 minutes?
Perfect.
Is that
Okay, so that's all I can share with you on being a good interviewee. If you got something out there, let me hear you say yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So promise me that you will use it and work. Okay? So now I'm going to flip it real quick, just for 5 minutes or less, about being the interviewer. First of all, let me see, is there anybody, before I even waste your time or mine, is there anybody here that would love to interview their favorite gurus and experts? Wow, okay. Well, I can tell you this. You will get speaking engagements. You will get more coaching clients. You will sell more books and products. Because again, the quickest way to become an expert is to interview experts. And once you do, and if you give them that red carpet feeling, they will give you referrals and make it easy for you to get the next one and the next one. I literally went from creating a show into the ICU, to on the red carpet interviewing now. Do you think when I was sitting at that hospital at the age of 55 making $10 an hour, that I even thought that was possible. Here's something unique I want to share with you. In the hospital, I listened to Les Brown's teleseminars. I used to record them and listen to them at the hospital. I listened to Alex Mendosian, I was in his course. I heard Alex interview Rick Frischman, and remember he's the one that said, I'm not doing teleseminars, I'm doing podcasts, and that's when I started Googling. I read Cynthia Kersey's Unstoppable book. That was in February 6, 2006. I've interviewed Rick Frischman. I've interviewed Les Brown. I've interviewed Alex Mendosian. I've interviewed Cynthia Kersey. Never knew him. Never knew him. Never knew anyone that knew him. Never. And all the other people that I've interviewed, Russell Simmons, Jane Kennedy. Anybody remember Jane Kennedy? She was a Halle Berry back in the day. Yeah. Lisa Sasevich, Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield wrote me a glowing, glowing testimonial that said out of 800 interviews, I was his favorite. Lisa Sasevich said that she felt like she was running down the red carpet. I learned to give red carpet interviews. And we don't have time to really tell you what it is, but real quickly, a red carpet interview means you are making that person feel like they're on the red carpet without their feet touching the ground. And when you're the interviewee, you are doing the interview like someone is interviewing you on the red carpet. Okay, that's why your posture has to be good. That's why when you answer them, the questions, they need to be short. You're not going to never see nobody on the red carpet going on and on and on and on. You got to learn how to do sound bites and stuff, and now that we can't get into here. I want to honor the time that we have today. I think, so I'm going to just give you what I call my these are my powerful P's. P number one, you got to have passion. Whether you're interviewing or being interviewed, P number one is you got to have passion. These are Raven's powerful P's that the pros use. P number two, you got to be clear and understand your purpose. What is your why? See, my why was not strong enough for me all those years. But as soon as Mama got sick, guess what, guys? My why got huge. There's an old saying that says, if your why is not big enough, you're not moving. That's why you're stuck. So tap into what your real purpose is and show that you have a passion for it. If you don't have a passion for it, it ain't your purpose. It's your skill. That's a big difference, okay? P number three, personality. Whether you are on the radio being interviewed or you're interviewing, you must show personality. God gave it to us, and we don't use it. I used to tell my radio hosts, what do they call talk show hosts or radio hosts? They call them radio what? Personalities. And I said, why don't we have one? So when you're being interviewed, show your personality. Because you want to draw those listeners in. I don't care what kind of degrees you got behind your name or in front of your name, show your personality. Thank you. And then the other P is positioning. Always position yourself as the expert. You want to position yourself and you want to position your audience. So positioning yourself is knowing that you're an expert in what you are and you're telling them that you're an expert. You're positioning your guests, if you're being to interview them, you're sharing that they're an expert in why. Positioning your audience is letting them know you are at the right place because today we're going to be talking about this. And if you've gone through this pain, if you've been hungry, if you're tired of trying to figure it out, today we're going to be talking about how you can create income, multiple streams of income right from your kitchen table doing what you love. If that's you, you're at the right place. The audience knows, okay, I need to sit here and stay. And that's when you go on as an interviewee, you use those same words. The other P is preparation. We always talk, that's the research. Just be prepared. Okay? And then the final P I'm going to end up with is profitable. Make sure that whether you're being interviewed or you're interviewing, make sure you have a profit stream for that. Can you go ahead and pass out those enrollment forms for me? I'm going to share this with you guys. Why she's doing this. Who can stand up and tell me the biggest thing, the most important thing they're gonna take away and implement? Anybody? I got a free book for someone.
Research.
But she stood up, so I guess they stand up. Go ahead.
Well, in addition to the research, making sure that I'm also following my repeats.
Follow the repeat. This is careers from the kitchen table. You'll see on the enrollment form, this is a bonus, and we feature 55 different stories in each book. We're getting ready to release our 4th edition on Monday, and the 5th edition will be released at the end of the year. And we always have some very big names on the cover. It also has over 8 hours of audio, links to 8 hours of audio. Enjoy that.
Thank
Be
you.
inspired. Who else can stand up real quickly and tell me something that they learned? Go ahead, sir.
Are you living your dream? Are you living your dream?
Are you living your dream? So what are you gonna do?
I'm starting it.
You're starting today.
Last months, yes.
Right, so what one thing did you learn about going after your dream here?